Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own Money Truth expert and whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great on this fine rainy day. We're so blessed to have this rain. I live on a farm, so that works for us. So how are
Oh,
you doing, Carlos?
I'm doing fantastic. The one thing though that I have to tell you, I love the rain. It's always great. And it's weird that I just didn't realize that we're still, I don't see sunshine until after probably a little bit after 7. And I'm like, hey, what happened to, being all nice and sunny when you get up 5:30, 6 o'clock, you're already up and running. But I love it.
Yep, it's great. It's going to be a good day.
Absolutely. And folks, today we have a very special show. We're going to talk about stop the swipe, right? And what that means is how to overcome retail therapy temptations and emotional spending. And we're all guilty of that. So what do you say we get started, Judy?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So let's talk about a little bit about what exactly is retail therapy. What does that mean for folks? And why do so many people turn to shopping when they're stressed out?
Well, that's two questions right there. So retail therapy is made up by people that really maybe lack self-control or don't want to be accountable, I think. So that's shopping to make you feel better. So whether it's acquiring something new or it's being social, it gives you a reason to go to the mall and talk to real people. In the old days, before we had social media and you could talk to anybody at any time, you had to go out and meet people. So it may have started there, but I think the underlying psychological thing, and I'm not a psychologist, but I think it's really about making yourself feel better, like self-medicating. People turn to, drugs and alcohol and smoking and whatever it is, the vices, eating, things like that. I think shopping for some people is a way to self-soothe when they're stressed or when they're upset or when they're happy, a way to celebrate. So I think there's all kinds of reasons that people overshop or overconsume for sure.
That kind of leads me to my next question, which is it's why does emotional spending it feels great at the moment, right? But
Hmm.
then it hurts later on, financially, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. It's like anything else that we do that we overdo or we do out of proportion. It can harm us. A little is good, a lot maybe not so good, right? And there's a lot of things in life that way. So even exercise, right? You can overdo it. There are good things that we do that you can overdo. We have to shop, we have to consume, we have to buy and provide for our families. But when we overdo it, there's kind of a line, right? And a lot
Mhm.
of areas of life have that. It's about balance. Sometimes it's about self-control and it's about making choices. And that's where we need to empower ourselves to make smart choices to get the outcome that we want in our lives, financially or otherwise, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Folks, if you're just joining us, thanks for being here this morning. Make sure that you are following Judy at judycopenbarger.today. There's a lot of great resources, and we'll talk a little bit about our website a little bit later on. But this is a great topic because we're getting into the holidays, right? So this actually fits this really well. And so for our listeners, how can they tell if their shopping habits have become like emotional or impulsive?
Yeah. Like, how do you know if you've gone too far? I think
Yeah.
when there's an imbalance, you sense there's an imbalance, or if it's impacting other areas of your life in a negative way. So it's just like, this whole value wheel, all of the areas of life. If you're unhealthy, that's going to impact relationships. It might impact your finances. If you don't manage
Right.
your finances, that might impact your relationship, your ability to impact the world, your family stuff. So everything impacts and affects everything. And so when you have a part of your life that's out of balance, it's going to cause a negative rift in another area of life. So let's say you overspend all of a sudden, your husband says, you spent too much, or your wife says, you spent too much. It's kind of 50-50 in my world. When I hear about people with spending habits that aren't working,
Mhm.
it's not just the women. Sometimes the men, they get on Amazon or they buy whatever they buy too much, right? More than they
Guilty
need.
as charged.
Aren't you? Yeah, and in almost every marriage, we're not totally aligned. So one's a little bit more of a spender, one's a little bit more of a saver. And it just, it's doesn't matter what the gender is. There's always, this we're not totally aligned. We're somewhere on the spectrum. So managing that's kind of a marriage issue and a long-term financial planning issue. But I think when you get the impact in another area of life where it's not working, or it's not working as well, it's not optimized, then there's something that needs to be course corrected.
So, and having said that too, I think we sometimes get completely sidetracked, right? And I think we talked about also being changing your mindset. But in your experience, what have you seen are probably the most common triggers that lead people into spending emotionally?
I think upset, depression, anger, um, when the life it is not aligned the way you want it to be. Maybe the relationship is not optimal. You had a fight. Something happened at work. You're stressed because the project isn't getting done, or your colleagues aren't cooperating, or your kids maybe aren't behaving perfectly the way they're supposed to. If something is not aligned and you feel like I have all this energy, whether it's anger or upset or depression or whatever it is. Sometimes it's exuberance, like, oh, I'm so happy. I want to go get a new purse. Um, if there's something that's just out of alignment emotionally, we find a way to express ourselves. And if we're not really great at expressing ourselves with healthy ways, or with our words, or with a therapist, or whatever it is, there are tools that help you, and there are tools that hurt you. And I would say over shopping or over consuming is a tool that hurts you. Maybe you go out and you get, coffee with a friend, and you go by and you buy a new lipstick or something like that. Maybe guys don't do that. Well, some might, I don't know. But you go do something for yourself. And I think there are healthy things that we can do for ourselves that kind of limit the overspending issues. And I used to talk a lot at MOPS and moms groups, the mothers of toddlers and preschoolers. And for some of them, it's like, oh my goodness, I just want to go be in public, get out of the house, get my little kids out of the house, get the stroller and go. And the mall's a nice, safe place for the most part to do some things like that. But you can go to the mall and you can use the elevators for free. You can use the bathrooms for free, the changing tables for free, all of that. And escalators even, right? But you don't have to buy something to feel like it's fair. You can go and come home with nothing. And I would have women just like, are you kidding me? Sitting in these rooms like, I didn't know you could do that. I thought every time you went to the mall, you had to take something home. It's like, well, that might be an excuse for shopping, but no,
All
you go to
right.
the mall and enjoy the property and not take something home. And if it's a challenge for you, try it. And I used to have feedback. So I would speak repeatedly at these groups, and I'd come back later and they say, I failed the challenge, but now I can pass it. Because they just weren't even aware that they were just doing that. And it's like, where'd all the money go? That thing, where'd it go? My pockets had holes in them, but where did it go? So it's possible. It's just being intentional about that and making smart choices every day. We make choices all day long about money, whether you think about it or not, we do. To spend, to not spend, to buy, to not buy, to pay that bill, to not. We're all day long doing things that have to do with financial impact. And so we might not even be aware. So the first part is awareness, right? And then when we know better, we can do better.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about old school stuff too, but there's a lot of, actually, even up till now, there's a lot of stores that have these little, I call them the rat maces, right? So before you check out, you kind of go through these aisles, and then they have all of this stuff. This was notorious. I remember years ago at Fry's Electronics. You remember Fry's Electronics,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You go in there, you need stuff. I need an ink cartridge, but as you're going out, all of a sudden you have all of this tech gadgets. Oh, that's kind of cool, and that temptation is always there.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing it back now to where we are. So how does social media and online shopping apps make this even harder for a lot of folks? Because you just click and you're done, right?
Right in front of us. It's so easy. Click, click. It's there by 3:00 in the afternoon, whatever you ordered, right? And it's funny
Mhm.
you said that maze marketing is so powerful that way. Eye level, all of that stuff. There's a big science to that. I was just in Norway a couple of weeks ago, and all of their stores are like that, even like their equivalent to like CVS, pharmacy, or grocery stores. Like, how IKEA is, you have to go through the whole thing to get to the end. So you have to see everything. They're like that. And I went to get a toothbrush at this little shop in a mall, And I had to go past every other thing, like a whole hardware store, grocery store, pharmacy, to get to the end where the toothbrushes were. And you have to look at
Mhm.
everything. So powerful for marketing, but we need to have the self-control to go, do I need it? Do I want it? Do I wish for it? Needs, wants, wishes, right? We've talked about that before. So if you're going for one thing, do you have the discipline to get the one thing? And I would say yes, because I don't really like to shop. It's not my favorite thing. But for some people, it's like there's satisfaction. It's like I went to the mall and I conquered it. I brought it home, you know? So
Yeah,
I think it's just being aware of what psychological tendencies you have around that. And then just being aware of what's coming at you with the media, with the online presence, with the marketing. I remember hearing statistics, there's like 100,000 marketing things that happen to us in a week. 100,000, like by this guy, even logos like on a Ford or on a
mhm,
Mercedes, it's like that's marketing, right? So everything is just coming at us. And if we're intentional about what we're going out to get rather than what's coming out, it's being proactive, not reactive. I think that can go a long way to help our bottom line.
absolutely. And folks, thank you guys for joining us this morning. Please follow Judy at judycopenbarger.today. There's a lot of wealth of free resources available for you guys, so make sure you guys check out the website and follow her on social media. She's got all of our accounts on there, so make sure that you tag her on posts. And if you have future questions, please let us know so we can address it here on the show as well too. Okay, so let me go back a little bit and go back to mindset, right? So, what role does mindset play in overcoming this sudden urge, right? Overcoming this need to spend for comfort.
Just choosing. And most areas of finance, when I'm teaching or helping people kind of, explore all of this, it starts with mindset. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you'll be right. Then you can't. And so it starts with I choose to do this. I want to do this. I'm able to do this. And I think a lot of people get stuck on that. I have the capability. I have the smarts. I have the discipline. I can do it. Maybe I didn't do it well yet. Maybe my parents didn't model it well. Maybe nobody I know ever mastered this, but I can. And if you believe you can, you can. So if shopping is your thing, find a way to limit yourself. I wouldn't say cut it out. It's kind of like dieting. You can't cut all food out, but you can learn to manage what you have to work with. And so I had clients that actually struggled with this. And he was the spender. She did like the household stuff and a few little extras. He was always, ordering stuff. Every day a box would come or two. And so what we did for them was we set up a plan where he's buying, she's buying, he's buying, she's buying. They get together. I mean, nobody needs to have things show up every day if you plan, right? And so you work toward that. So every Saturday morning, they have a half an hour. They have everything in their carts and they have a half hour and they sit down. I think they're still doing it. They sit down and they say, okay, here's what's in my cart. What's in yours? Exactly what is our spending plan for today? How much are we going to spend? Let's pick the priorities. The rest can stay in the cart for next week. We'll discuss it then. And it saved thousands of dollars a month that first couple of months because they were just buying, buying, buying crazy stuff and sometimes doubling up on, they'll have a conversation about, yeah, we should probably change the color of the lamps in the bedroom. He'd buy some, she'd buy some, and maybe they'd buy spares in case the color didn't work. So you have all this stuff showing up, but they weren't communicating. The communication made a big difference just to start. It also slowed down the drip because Tuesday, what you think is like the best buy in the world, by Thursday, you're like, yeah, I don't need that. Where would I put it anyway? Right. And then by Saturday, when you're being intentional and prioritizing against other things that the family really needs, you can really make smart choices. And that seems to be working. So it's just, having that intention, that mindset.
So I'm going to ask you guys something.
Oh, I lost your
Uh,
sound. Are you there?
yeah, there we go. Well, let me ask you really quick here. What can partners do specifically for spending plans or accountability to help one another, basically?
Well, I think, the plan that I just laid out, being intentional, talking about it together, communicating, first of all, is like, well, I was thinking about getting this new sheet set. And well, we don't really need it, or we do need it, or maybe we could wait, or maybe we could do a different kind or a different color, or somehow save money. So there's so many things that we can do. Communication is going to be important. Intention is going to be important. And I'll say, if you have a young family, even if they're not so young, involve them in the choices that you're making. Let your kids be involved in the money that you're spending, the shopping that you're doing, the priorities. Take them to the store. And at the grocery store, it's really nice because they have price per ounce or price per unit. Let your children, even if they're young, be involved in choosing. Do we need this can of soup or this can of soup? Which one costs less? Which one has more value? Which one has better quality? Discuss why you're shopping for what you're shopping for. And if it's time to go get clothes for back to school or some outfits for soccer practice or something, involve them in the choices that you're making. This is how much it costs. This is the value I'm getting. This is what mom or dad have to do at work to get that much money. I have to be away from you for 2 hours to earn enough money for that outfit. Or I have to be away from you for 2 days to earn enough money for that toy or that new game or whatever it is. So involve your kids. That'll really go a long way toward not only managing what you guys are doing on your spending plan now, but it helps them learn how to spend later. And adults that struggle with spending plans and budgets say they never learn to spend well. So if you can't spend well, then you're out of balance and you can't save well. And they'd love to have more in retirement and their goals and for travel and things like that. But there's always not enough because they didn't learn how to allocate the money as it leaves their pocket. So involve your kids. That'll make a big difference in their lives as they go forward.
So something I want you to talk about just briefly, because I know we're getting close to the tail end of the show, but in your world, today we're talking about therapy, right? The overcoming the retail therapy, but in your world, you actually are a financial therapist, right? Because you have a lot of cases that come to you, and you're kind of that mediator, like you mentioned a little bit between husbands and wives and spendings and all of that stuff too. So give us maybe just a brief example of a couple or a person that stands out for you that you've been able to do this therapy, right?
Yeah, I would say there was a couple I may have mentioned in the past. I met them, family members of friends that knew somebody that knew somebody that knew me. And they were in their early 70s and were struggling with retirement debt. They never had learned to spend well, and they'd been married almost 50 years. It was crazy. And usually I'll see 40s, 50s, even 60s that really can't get a handle on their budget. These guys never had. It was always a problem, and they were like about to get booted out of their house. They couldn't take care of this. They couldn't manage. And so they were trying to figure out how to do all that. So within about 6 months of very disciplined, and they were desperate, very disciplined planning, very intentional spending, cutting some things they didn't need, duplicates of things, the things they were overspending on, changing their lifestyle just a little. They were able to get everything in shape, get rid of all the debt. We did a debt repayment strategy and got rid of all that, negotiated it down, and they got free. And every single phone call, and we met weekly for a while because it was like every week we need to talk about what did we do well, what do we need to do more, better, different, because it was a thing. Money happens every day to people. And that couple just got turned around, and they will still say that should have happened, 40, 50, 60 years before that. But they said, we never learned that. We always just kind of spent what we had and then some. And credit cards are fine. Just get another one. You have a blue one. Now get a red one. Now get a black one. Right. So they figured out how to actually manage the money as it went out. And it just freed them up. They had a better life than ever and are living a better life than ever. They're about 80 now. And it's just amazing. So it's possible no matter what age you are, you can always take your life to the next level, whether it's spending less or spending appropriately or earning more or managing what you have. There's always a better way.
Folks, we are at the tail end of the show, and for you guys, you know what that means. Can we call this our therapy challenge? I don't know. That sounds good, right?
It's the retail therapy challenge. Yeah. So if you're married or if you're in a family where there is one person or more that struggle with this, and remember, you're modeling for your kids too. So it's important to get a handle on this and not teach them how to be over consumers. right? So you just want to really do that well. So if there's anyone like that in your family, let's first of all identify it. Let's be honest about, yeah, I think it might be a problem. I think I have a problem. I think I could do better. That's the first thing. Who is it? What is happening that is causing imbalance in your life? The second thing is, what are we going to do about it? And I would say a list of 3 things on paper with a pencil. What are 3 things that we can do to manage that issue and make it better in our family to bring more balance and harmony, not only in our relationships, but in our life? That's your challenge.
All right, folks, you've heard the challenge. Please let us know if you need any clarifications or if you have a new topic for the show as well, too. Please send us a message and we'd love to address it here on Money Truth Moments. So make sure you're also following Judy at judy@copenbarger.today. Judy, any last parting words?
Oh, make it a great week. And if you're in a rainy place, be safe and enjoy the rain. Good to
All
see
right,
you.
folks, we're here every Tuesday morning with the replays on Thursday evenings as well, too. So until next time, take care. Be safe.